That sound you heard coming out of New Jersey, that large thud sound, was the sound of Chris Christie's career hitting the ground. Chris Christie will forever look at the George Washington Bridge and personally refer to that as the bridge to nowhere. As you may have heard in the news media, that Chris Christie slash his staff was accused of a political hit job using lane closures on the bridge, the George Washington Bridge, to pay back a Democratic mayor who wouldn't support Chris Christie in this last election. Now, this has a lot of implications. I saw a recent commercial showing Willie Horton, how Willie Horton unraveled Dukakis's political aspirations. This scandal is just as bad. Chris Christie needs to understand why his political career is over. And the reason more than anything that his career is over is we currently have a president who had no executive experience. And we now find out that he goes after his political opponents, much like a community organizer would, and he attacks them from all angles, using whatever means necessary. And that's why governors make the best presidents. When they have executive experience, they learn to use power to help everybody. Now, is everybody perfect? No, but they having power and using it wisely is the true mark of a leader. Chris Christie is now looked upon as a bully. Now, he's always had a reputation for being a tough guy. Some of his interactions with the unions have been quite tense, and I'm sure if you ask any union, for teachers' unions, they would tell you the same, that he's a bully. Well, now they have evidence that he or his staff, they are bullies. You know, there was no reason to do what they did, and they know that. But the important thing is now the media is going to back away and try to get him elected because it's electing a flawed candidate. I believe in my heart the media wants a Hillary Clinton president, so they will now step back and try to rebuild his career, saying, oh, he's just a victim of his staff, knowing all along Deputy Chief of Staff Bridget Ann Kelly only has to say within 6 months of an election, hey, he called the hit. Whether it's true or not, it doesn't matter. Just the implication of Chris Christie being a bully will put them or highlight Hillary Clinton's career to the point where she'll get elected. It'll also push the middle, you know, those that really decide the elections, from independent over to the Democratic Party. So this is so bad for Chris Christie's career, and in a way, I don't mind it because it kind of shows the petty person that he was. To give the keynote address during this last presidential election and never mention the candidate's name shows you that he's a petty person. It doesn't matter that you weren't offered the vice president job. You probably would have turned it down anyway. But for you not to mention it, not to kick off his campaign with momentum as the keynote speaker, that showed to me he's a petty person. Now, this action with the bridge shows me he's also a bully. So, Chris Christie, you can try to run your career. I think most people in the know will step back and say, hey, we better find another candidate because this is the kind of stuff that derails a campaign just close enough to election. So, Chris Christie, as you get in your car and you're driving over that George Washington Bridge, instead of calling it the George Washington Bridge, call it the Bridge to Nowhere.